Hi students, this is week 4 of LS 102 in which we discuss metadata and controlled vocabulary. Metadata literally means beyond data, and it's often referred to as data about data. Metadata is any data used to organize, categorize, locate, or discover something. Because metadata is merely data that is used to find something, metadata can be, and often is, stored in databases, and we will definitely employ it in LS 102 in the form of field searching, which we'll talk about and see in the upcoming weeks. For the purposes of our adventures in library land this term, metadata is information or data used to describe specific content, also data, in resource records, such as the catalog and the article databases. So here we have an example of a catalog record and its metadata. And this is something that you would find easily if you typed in, say, the title or the author's name in the catalog. And this particular portion is called the catalog record. As you can see, it says item information to the left of catalog record. If we wanted to, if we were in a live database, we could click on that link and go back to a shorter record that shows us just basic item information, but the catalog record shows us a good bit more about the particular resource and serves to describe it very well. Right here, this is the metadata or author metadata for the author. So as you can see, it says personal author : that's the name of the field, that's the metadata field name. And then the information that makes up the field is the name of the author, John Hoffman. As you can see, here we have one for title. And so the name of the field is book title or title metadata. And then the actual information that describes what the title is or tells us what the title is the weight of the nation, the surprising lessons about diets, food, and fat from the extraordinary HBO documentary series. This is literally the title of the book. And here's publication metadata, and the field is called publication info, and then it tells us that it was published in New York at St. Martin's Press in 2012. Here's one for a journal article from Academic Search Complete. The title of the article is called Television Food Advertising to Children, a Global Perspective. Here we have, because it's a global perspective, a heck of a lot of authors. So we have an authors field, a metadata field, and it's simply they describe it as authors. And then you can see we have multiple authors listed here, again, because it's a global perspective, so it's a lot of people that were working on this article. And here, to indicate and show how we have variations, as I've said before, from database to database, here we do have publication metadata. But instead of calling it publication info, like we saw just last slide in the catalog record, it calls it source in this particular case. But it still is publication information or publication metadata, because as you can see, the title of the journal that published it is listed, the American Journal of Public Health. The date that it was published, September 2010, is listed. That it was published in volume 100, issue 9. Is listed here, and so forth. So, like we said before, databases will present us with variations. So let's talk about keywords and subject searching. Most databases, as you know, like Google for example, allow you to search by keyword, and those are words that you choose that describe or seem right for your topic. So for example here, if we were trying to find information about cats, we could just simply type in cat. Or if we're trying to go a little more scientific, we might say cat or feline. If we're looking for a younger cat, we might say kitten. If we're looking for information about a specific breed, we might type in tabby. If we're going really broad, as you can see right below tabby, it's kind of dark, but you can see it. If you were going really broad, if you think about it, a cat is an animal, so you might say animal if you were trying to be a little bit broader about it, but if not, it'd probably be better to search by cat or feline or specific breed of cat. Now, besides keyword, you can also search by subject using a controlled vocabulary, and that's a standardized labeling system that changes from database to database. So here what we have is a screenshot of an education resource found online and also from one of our EBSCO vendors, and it's called Education Resources Information Center, or ERIC for short. And here you can see I've consulted the ERIC thesaurus to look up and see what other terms are described or used related to the subject of critical thinking. And so I've got critical thinking typed in, and this is what it found for me. It found that I can use a broader term to find something that's called cognitive processes. I can use narrower terms like evaluative thinking. Related terms might be critical theory, productive thinking, reflection, thinking skills, and so forth. Problem solving, problem-based learning. There's a lot of different things here that we can use. So as you can see, all these are different forms and different ways that databases use to control or standardize information. So controlled vocabulary is a limited set of authorized terms to be used in indexing or classifying documents in an information system. And it may also be used in searching for documents in an information system. And that's certainly what we're going to be doing a lot of this term. And when I say information system, I mean database. So databases with controlled vocabulary use very specific terms for the concepts that they're describing, and they're very specific terms that you can use when you're searching by subject. And it's a very focused search because it's usually within the context of what you want, whereas keyword searching is a bit looser and it may not always be exactly in the context of what you want. So the easiest way really to describe what a subject type of search is that a subject is what a thing is about. So databases often provide a subject list, which is its controlled vocabulary, and it can be useful to focus your search for relevancy. Also, subject heading, subject term, and descriptor are other terms used to refer to controlled vocabulary. So not only do we call it controlled vocabulary, but we can also refer to it as a subject heading, a subject term, or even a descriptor. And descriptor is pretty good because descriptor means exactly the way that subject terms and subject headings and controlled vocabulary function. They function to describe what the resource or record that you're looking at is about. In fact, you might even think of specialized terms like subject heading and descriptor, and again, these vary from database to database. You might even think of them as controlled vocabulary for controlled vocabulary. Here's a quick example of everyday controlled vocabulary that you may not have realized that you've probably encountered before. So for example, let's say you're in the Yellow Pages, and we've all probably had that experience of trying to come up using what we think is the appropriate natural language term for something that we're looking for, and yet when you turn to look for doctors in the D's, you can't find it. And then you fish around, and finally you realize that the doctor listings is under physicians. And if you're looking for an auto mechanic, it may not be under auto mechanics or car repair, but it might be under automobile repair and service. And if you want a lawyer, it's not under L, it's under A for attorneys, and so forth. So the people who put together the Yellow Pages are the ones who determine that the controlled vocabulary, the way that they're going to organize and list all these different listings that they have for all these different businesses, their controlled vocabulary is different, obviously, from yours, from what you might think of for natural language. Some other examples of databases and their controlled vocabulary. Here in Sims Library, at Howard Tilton Library at Tulane University, or Middleton Library at LSU, we all use Library of Congress, or LC, subject headings. That's how we have organized and classified our information using the Library of Congress system. In ERIC, which we saw a few minutes ago, the Education Resources Information Center, they have a thesaurus of ERIC descriptors. So they use their system of ERIC descriptors to describe and classify and organize their records. The National Library of Medicine uses medical subject headings, also known as MESH headings, to organize and classify their records. Here's an example of controlled vocabulary and subject terms in a library catalog record. Again, remember I said that subject terms is synonymous to controlled vocabulary. So even though what I have in the red box there, even though those terms do not say controlled vocabulary, they are indeed the controlled vocabulary for this particular record. The title of this book is So Each May Learn, Integrating Learning Styles and Multiple Intelligences. And what I have in the red box there, it's linked, the subject metadata field is called subject term, And the information for the first one is psychology of learning. The data entered in the second field is multiple intelligences, and the third one is cognitive styles. So these are all other ways that this particular record about multiple intelligences has been classified. It could be also cognitive styles, psychology of learning, or just multiple intelligences. These are all subject descriptions of this record. As you can see, the ones that are in the green print, these are all links. So if you were at this point to click on, say, the cognitive styles link, you would find all records that that database, the library catalog, contains that have been subject classified under cognitive styles. And again, these are linked records, so the same thing would go for psychology of learning or multiple intelligences and so forth. And also, as you notice, if you look up, there's the personal author field is the information, Harvey F. Silver, for that field. That is also hyperlinked. So if there are other books by Harvey Silver that we own in our collection, if we click on that link, and if there were multiple books by him, those would all come up by using that particular link. Here's what a linked subject terms looks like in a journal article record example. Again, we're using that same record example that we saw earlier, television food advertising to children, a global perspective. And as you can see, there's multiple subject terms linked here that we could use. We could click on any of these links and a new search would begin, and it would pull up all records that have been subject classified by whichever subject term we clicked on. So, in a nutshell, controlled vocabulary is a means of controlling or standardizing the many variations in terminology to provide consistency in searching and classifying information. So let's apply what we know to show a quick way to subject search. So we said that a subject is what a thing is about. When you do subject searching, it's a more focused search because it's looking for your terms in the subject fields of the databases. And those subject fields, they attempt to describe what a thing is about, what that record is about. But the subject terms or controlled vocabulary will change from database to database. So what can be done about that? Well, you can start with a keyword search. There are hundreds of thousands of subject terms in the various databases. There's no need to memorize them all. You couldn't. I can't, and I've been a librarian for over 10 years now. So you just start with a keyword search and you work from there. Open up records in your keyword search results that look like what you're searching for, and then redirect your search by switching to the subject terms offered in the database results that you've generated by your initial keyword search, or just click on the linked subjects offered in the record. So let's just reiterate on these last two bullet points. So let's say you clicked on a link in a keyword search result record. You saw the subject terms. It looked like it was describing what you needed to find. You click on that link, and you can start looking through the items that that link clicking brings up, or you can then just look at the subject terms offered in the record, and then you might want to go back in and edit your search and maybe try different types of searching, maybe different fields, maybe a keyword search with a subject search field, or so forth. Or you might just try using subject terms as keyword terms or whatever. But there's different ways to use those subject terms, and they usually work out for the better because they're more of a focused search. Okay, and here I have a really nice chart of the advantages and disadvantages of controlled vocabulary or subject searching versus keyword searching. And as you can see, all of these are very valid advantages and disadvantages. The big thing to remember with keyword searching as far as a disadvantage is that over there, you see that number 1, it says you may retrieve items that are not relevant to your topic. And that is often the case because people refer to things in different ways, and sometimes we'll use a word that's not exactly in the same context that you want, so you may find a false hit. And one of the disadvantages, however, of controlled vocabulary is that new topics and recently coined terms may not be included in a list of controlled vocabulary or subject terms. But then again, if you're as an advantage for controlled vocabulary, As I just mentioned before, once you've gone in and done a keyword search, you can then go into the record and click on the suggested suggested subject terms, and that will help you focus your search. Anyway, so I think you'll see that there's a big difference really between keyword and subject searching, but both are useful and both should be employed when you're trying to tease out good research results. Talk to you later.